Thank you for watching another episode of the Boat Geeks. If you are liking what you're finding here at our channel, please hit the thumbs up below.
And please like and subscribe so you don't miss a future episode.
Absolutely. And you can comment too. Feel free to comment.
Yeah, we love to hear what you think.
Thank you. Boats are significantly depreciating assets, and you slow that process down. That's a great way to say it.
Yeah, really.
And that is significant. That's hugely important and a great bonus of storing your boat that way.
Well, and the cost savings just from maintenance perspective alone.
Absolutely.
I mean, you're not having to deal with that nasty thing we call saltwater, or the elements, or the critters that like to find a home on your floating device.
Yeah.
But it's the fun. It's the fun that you were just talking about. So let me kind of paint the picture.
Yeah.
I've got my new Sargo 33 in your facility.
Lucky you.
I know, really lucky. Bill and Eileen know they have one. And I decide, man, look at this day. Honey, let's head up to Friday Harbor for dinner. Hey, Robert, we're going to need our boat ready. How soon can it be down and ready for us to take her?
When do you plan on being here?
We'd be there in about half an hour if we could.
We'll be in the water waiting for you.
That's insane. I mean, that is the future to me. That just seems like such an obvious.
From the Port of Bremerton and recorded at the Northwest Marina and Boatyard Conference, it's the Boat Geeks with Darren and Daeron.
We're the Boat Geeks, whatever floats your boat. We're the Boat Geeks.
Welcome to another episode of the Boat Geeks podcast. I am your host, Darren.
And I'm your other host, Darren, and we are at the Marina and Boatyard Conference in Bremerton, hosted by the NMTA, the Northwest Marine Trade Association. Did I get that all out correctly?
You got it out correctly, and we're having a great time here.
Yes, we are. And we're meeting some really cool people like Robert Kellom, who is the general manager of Twin Bridges Marina. And if you're not familiar, that's the marina that's between Mount Vernon and Anacortes on Highway 20, right across from that big casino.
That is correct.
Yeah. Now,
welcome.
Yeah, welcome.
Thank you very much.
Absolutely. For having me. I've driven by it many times. I drive up to Vancouver all the time. Go up through Whidbey. I didn't know
that's our kind of our pitch phrase. Is I've driven by your building so many times. I finally decided to stop by and visit. So.
Well, I didn't even know that's what it was. So like we say, we learn a lot with our podcast. There's too many marinas up here for me to remember and he's visited them all. I have not.
There's not enough.
There's too many and there's not enough. Exactly correct. But what you're doing is very interesting. When Darren explained it to me, we would love to know about your marina and what makes it special.
And unique.
Yes.
Well, to be extremely unique, we were the first in Washington State and the second on the West Coast when we opened in 2001. It was a business model that nobody was really comfortable with or familiar with at the time. They didn't understand the basic concepts of using forklifts to transport boats in and out of the water. We are an indoor heated out-of-water facility. And essentially what it is we get your boat to where you want it before you show up. There's a huge convenience and efficiency factor to our operations. We put the fun back in boating. And then at night or in the cold winter nights, you can feel extremely comfortable that your boat's well taken care of. It is 100% heated and indoors.
And the term that I remember from my time living aboard back at McCuddy's Marina on the Multnomah Channel in Oregon was dry stack storage.
Yes.
Because there was a facility there, which I heard burned down.
Yeah, they had.
So anyway.
Had a bit of an issue there.
So that's kind of the unique selling point that you guys have.
Yes. I stress the fact that people treat boats as an investment. And I mentioned to you earlier that a lot of people will invest in a home before they buy a boat. There's a lot of responsibility associated with the ownership of a vessel and the maintenance costs and everything associated with it. And we help with that process. We help make it easier and more enjoyable to own a boat. We're adding value to the depreciating asset. Boats look just as good as the day they come in as the day they leave.
When he says it brings fun back to boating, on one hand, I can see where that would be true in terms of just convenience. Like you said, it's ready for you when you show up if you plan ahead. And the second reason is because, your boat being taken care of and a lot less wear and tear.
Out of the water.
Yeah, out of the water.
Wow.
Well, there's a lot of upfront savings as well. You don't have
Yeah.
to winterize. You don't have to be concerned wholeheartedly with bottom paint. And I do want to stress the fact that as far as notice goes, we typically only need 10 to 15 minutes.
Wow.
That's incredible.
Wow.
I would have figured it was more than that. And so super convenient. But for me, my boating experience with my boat, because I bought a wood boat, is that I barely take her out. And it's a lot of just working on her. And so when you said, I bring the fun back into boating, I'm like, yes, I can totally see that, because your boat is being, and I have to keep working on it because she keeps sitting in the water. And so, every year it's like, okay, what do we have to replace this year? And so that seems like such a brilliant idea and way to take care of your boat. The covered slips are coveted, but even those, you're still in the water. So it's
Well, and another aspect of the type of services that we provide, we do have work stands located just outside of our facility. And that's where we can put the boat for you to service it, to flush your motors, to clean it, to do any kind of electronical upgrades. Tom and Jerry's Boat Center is conveniently located next to us.
Yeah.
They service the majority of our boats. They have very well knowledgeable and experienced technicians on site.
That's awesome.
So we work hand in hand. It's a symbiotic relationship.
So,
it really works well.
Describe the inside of your facility. I mean, how many slips?
Yeah, slips
you
is
have?
kind of a lucrative
It
term.
is, it doesn't apply really.
We can house 242 boats. Right now, we're at about 230. We range anywhere. I guess everything is based on the maximum capacity that our forks can accommodate. And right now, the fork lengths that we have are 22 and 24. We do have two lifts. We call them Hans and Franz, if you're ever familiar with the with the SNL skit, right? We are here to pump you up, right? That's it. But they're 24 feet in length, so the overall length can become problematic depending on the load center of that vessel. So we don't like to exceed 39 in overall length.
39?
39, so we can go up to 39
That's
feet.
longer than I would have expected.
Some say 39 and a half, but just to make it easy. And also maximum weight capacity is about 18,000 pounds.
Still.
See, I would have thought trailerable boats only. That's in my mind. That's what I was thinking.
That's what I'm picturing.
And we do, and there are 4 different levels to our dry stack storage. We have labeled A, B, C, and D. Makes it pretty simple to remember. But the smaller boats are on the D level. Those usually consist of your 21, 22 foot, little kind of lake boats,
runabouts
fishing
or
boats,
whatever.
Runabouts, yeah. And they can go all the way up to I think the biggest boat we have in there. We have quite a bit of the 33 Pursuits. We have some 330 Marlins, some Grady Whites. A little bit heavier boats. And Tom and Jerry sells Hughes Crafts and Kingfish.
Yes, I see all those out there.
And so we house quite a bit of those too. So,
Wow. And how high do you stack?
Rough numbers, I think the top level can go anywhere. It's to 40 to 45 feet in the air. We have a 2-stage forklift.
We're going to have to show some pictures.
I feel like we want to go over there and get video one of these days.
I think that'd be great. I'd love to have you guys over.
You've got some good pictures on your website. And
yes, we do.
Because we'll have to show some just to give people an idea. I mean, like you said, so many people say they drive by and they didn't even know what was in that big, giant blue building.
For sure. And it's growing so much in demand right now. I think I mentioned earlier that we are looking to expand. I think the demand for it is there. We have anywhere from, I think, around 170 people on a waiting list.
Wow.
I've been collecting that information for 5 years. It goes back 5 years. The frustrating aspect is people call me and ask, realistically, you should be looking for a place to store your boat before you even consider buying.
Yes,
I mean, where the market's at right now.
And so did I learned that the hard way.
I think everybody does. But they call and they say, hey, I'm looking to store this boat for winter storage. I've heard about your facility. What are my options? And it says, well, your option is at least a 3-year wait.
Yeah.
It's not a really great way to start off a conversation, and it is discouraging.
It's reality.
But it is reality.
Yeah.
And they understand that, and we do take their information, but some of those customers are so frustrated that they don't leave it. So
a lot of marinas around here are 5 years. So, yeah.
And we say 3 years because, like I said, we hope to expand. We're looking at that as a viable option. The demand for what we do and the services we provide are there for it. Our location is ideal. We're basically at the mouth of the San Juans.
So would you be expanding on that property then?
Yeah, it would be on that property.
Wow.
So.
Convenient.
Yeah, very convenient.
So I lived in Friday Harbor for a long time, moved to Port Townsend in 2010, and I vaguely recollect when Twin Bridges opened. What year was it?
2001.
Okay, so we were up there in that time frame, and
August of 2001 to be exact.
I heard that there was a really long period of the permitting process before.
We like to call that as litigation. There was years and years of it.
Yeah.
Everything, because it was such a new novel idea, nobody really understood what we were trying to present. And it was fascinating. It was the unknown. And when you're tapping into the well of the unknown, 10 people and entities tend to start asking a lot of questions, and they start throwing a lot of red tape, and they want to make sure that you adhere to certain guidelines, regulations, and codes, which are more stringent now than they ever have been.
Right.
And Bill Youngsman, who's the owner of the facility, was a very, very smart businessman. He actually had that property that we're hoping to expand on permitted when he permitted the first.
Oh, smart.
Good,
Yeah.
good.
Being extremely proactive is good business sense, I would say, and he's one of the smartest men I know in that aspect.
Cool.
So you said that you guys were the first such facility in Washington.
That is correct.
And the second on the West Coast.
Yes.
And how many other
Are these common
facilities
elsewhere?
Yeah, I mean, how many?
They're really predominant on the East Coast. It's a well-known business model on the East Coast, and Bill actually kind of borrowed that idea from very successful businesses that are doing this type of operation, and it was something that he felt was needed in this area. Nobody had thought about it before, and so again, it's the reason why it took so long to make it operational. But it is really, as I said before, you're trying to find the best way to prolong the life of your boat and to use it as long as you can. And we're talking generational. We've got families that are on third generations that are passing these boats down. And to get that kind of life expectancy out of something, you have to provide a service or some way to protect that investment. And we do that hands down.
Yeah, I mean, boats are significantly depreciating assets, and you slow that process down. That's a great way to say it.
Yeah, really.
And that is significant. That's hugely important and a great bonus of storing your boat that way.
Well, and the cost savings just from maintenance perspective alone.
Absolutely.
I mean, you're not having to deal with that nasty thing we call saltwater, or the elements, or the critters that like to find a home on your floating device.
But it's the fun. It's the fun that you were just talking about. So let me kind of paint the picture.
Yeah.
I've got my new Sargo 33 in your
have one in the
facility.
building.
Lucky you.
I know, really lucky. Bill and Eileen know they have one. And I decide, man, look at this day. Honey, let's head up to Friday Harbor for dinner. Hey, Robert, we're going to need our boat ready. How soon can it be down and ready for us to take her?
When do you plan on being here?
We'd be there in about half an hour if we could.
We'll be in the water waiting for you.
That's insane. I mean, that is the future to me. That just seems like such an obvious way to go for the people that see the value in it.
Well, so the majority of my life I spent playing in the sand. I have ATVs, dirt bikes, side by sides, and I grew up with a lake boat in northern Idaho. We used to go to the Dorsack Dam. It's a 56-mile long reservoir that we used to go water skiing, tubing, swimming, and whatnot, and camping. But you're getting to a point where there's so much involved in just getting ready to go somewhere. There's so much effort, time wasted in preparing to have fun. And that is the drag. That is the downfall of this recreational thing that we love called boating.
Yeah.
And so if we can eliminate that process, we're putting the fun back into boating. And I really believe that. I sincerely believe that. Because, and we have such an older demographic too. I mean, we're making it easy to enjoy yourself on the water.
There you go.
This episode of the Boat Geeks is sponsored by The Boater's Guide, a free app for Pacific Northwest boaters. The Boater's Guide is adventure and information, right at your fingertips, right when you need it. Find your happy place with The Boater's Guide, a free download on your phone or tablet in the App Store and Google Play.
So the guys that are out there, the guys and women that are on their sailboats going, I need to transition to power. And then they eventually go, I need to transition to interior storage and call Robert.
Absolutely.
So now you don't call them slips. What do you?
I do refer to them as slips.
Okay. Well,
I think it's just the easy kind of default term
it's a
for
word that
something that's
everybody can relate
recognizable.
to. It's a dry slip.
Yes.
So you have a dry slip, and if I'm paying for that dry slip, is everything included in terms of?
So you get unlimited launches. It does take us less than 5 to 10 minutes to launch your boat.
Wow.
You get 2 free bags of ice per launch. We do have work stands available. We do spray the bottom of your boat with fresh water when we pull it from the water. We put it on a work stand so you can then flush it, wash it, detail it, do anything you want as far as servicing to it. The only additional cost you'll ever have is fuel. We do carry non-ethanol mid-grade and as well as dyed diesel. Upon request, we will fuel your boat for you before we put it away, and your launch ready to go. It helps with that efficiency process.
Now, every waiting list I've been on up here has required a deposit for that waiting list. I'm very much used to it. Do you guys have the same thing?
No, sir.
Oh my goodness.
When we look to
Just
expand,
keep blowing our mind.
in the hopefully not so distant future, at that point when we have a more definitive date, I'll start making a ton of phone calls, reaching out to potential customers, and then we'll determine whether we want to move forward with a contract and then some sort of deposit moving forward from that point. But right now, it's not realistic to expect that. Because ultimately, what's that doing for us, and what's that doing for you as a consumer or as a boat user? It's really deterring us from our objective, and that's to get you in. I mean, I would rather you give me your information for free than not give me information because I'm asking for money.
Because of that obstacle. Yeah.
Absolutely. We're a lead if we get signed up.
I approach this as if I was that person on the line.
Yeah, that's brilliant. That's brilliant. It's customer service. What's the website?
It's twinbridgesmarina.com. Pretty easy to remember.
twinbridgesmarina.com. I have a feeling there are quite a few people out there that are going to go to twinbridgesmarina.com and go,
Get me on that list.
I want to be there.
Well, I already know if you got a 3-year approximate waiting list, I already know I want to get on. I mean, hopefully within the next, because I'm getting rid of my current boat, 40-foot wooden boat. I'm downsizing to a glass boat of some sort. And I know that's something I might be interested in.
Well, there's no might.
I know I would be interested in.
There you go. Let me make sure we're on the same page.
Well, do you know why I say that? Because my other half isn't here. But so I always got to run everything by her.
She's listening to you now.
She's listening. That sounds like such an
really cool.
obvious solution, and I think your tagline there of bringing the fun back into boating is absolutely appropriate. I'm amazed at the service you provide, and
it's something that we take great pride in.
Yeah.
I knew a little bit about it, and all of a sudden, I mean, all this information is like, I had no idea, and I already knew a little bit.
Yeah.
I hate to interject, but it does start with the staff that we have in place. Johnny is my lead operator. He's been with me for 7 years. We also have Doug and John. They are wonderful young men. They work hand in hand. They complement each other as far as personalities. They all love to fish, and they all have boats.
Nice.
And this is an industry that they're passionate about.
Good.
And that really carries over into their work
Oh,
ethic.
it does. Absolutely.
And their ability to connect with our customer base. We're not a customer landlord tenant, we're family.
Yeah.
And I think that's a priority that I've instilled since day one. I want to get away from that commercial feel. I want to make you feel comfortable and in an atmosphere where you're trying to get away from stress, where you're trying to get away from the BS of life, that this is a sanctuary, this is a release, and we're here to help you with that process.
That's customer service. I feel old whenever I say this, but customer service has gone to shit. And in a lot of industries, and a lot, like when I was young, it was all about customer service. It was all about the customers always right. I learned how to serve people and to make their lives easier. That was my dad teaching me, and the people I grew up with when I was young. But I've noticed significantly that customer service has dropped off the face of the planet.
Across the board.
And so what you're talking about is so essential and important, and to me, fundamental. I would say absolutely there's no reason not to call these guys. Check them out if you have any interest in storing a boat like this. To me, you guys just it's you have the cake, you've got icing, icing on top of that.
And eat it.
Yeah, I mean, it's just it really sounds like an incredible service, an incredible place that you've got going there, and you know exactly the formula. It starts with your employees and the way that they treat 100%. Your customers, and then your customers are happy. They're going to keep coming back, and they're going to spread the word. I mean, that is the way to do it. And
it's really about managing people, and titles are insignificant.
Yep.
They obviously give you a specific salary range.
Sure.
But ultimately, we're here to help the customer. We're here to make sure that their experience is as enjoyable as possible, as convenient and efficient as possible, that we do our job to the best of our ability.
Yeah.
And we set a standard in a very, very growing industry.
Yeah.
And I think we've done that.
Yeah.
Good job.
I'm impressed.
All right.
I'm seriously
That's
impressed.
cool.
And we would love to, at some point, get up there.
We'll have to come and visit.
We'll
Please
do
do.
an
I'd love to have you
on-site
guys.
interview.
I'd love to introduce you to my team. I think that's
Cool.
That's a valuable asset that I can't speak enough about. The guys there allow me to sleep on weekends. And it's important to have that.
not
I mean,
overrated.
Trust is such a word that is
Yeah.
it's so important to the functionality of
agree.
any business.
Awesome.
All right. Well, Twin Bridges Marina. I'm going to look more closely when
He
I
will.
drive past there. Let's see. That'll be October 20th, I
20th,
believe.
yeah.
I will be driving right by there. I'm going to look really closely at what your operation is
Look
there.
close enough to come shake my hand.
That's
There you
right.
go.
Thank
Stop
you.
by.
Thank you, Robert, for being here.
My pleasure.
Thank
Thank
you.
you for having me.
This has been another episode of the Boat Geeks podcast. And until next time, whatever floats your boat.
We're the